Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to race number 2 of the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series here at Pheonix International Raceway for the Design Lab 55. Hello again, everybody. My name is Kyle Young, here to bring you live flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's event. Again, race number 2 in this series. We debuted last week at Daytona International Speedway, and now we go all the way to the opposite side of the country to Pheonix International Raceway for our second race. Joining me, as always, for tonight's broadcast is the man on the camera and all the pretty buttons that I don't get to see or touch. It is Paul Showtime Strickland. And next to me to call the action tonight, a new face, Tim Terry. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to see this league, Kyle. I've heard a lot about NEP. First time I've really got to be up here and enjoy a race with you guys. So I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Pheonix International Raceway always provides some great racing here in iRacing.
It really does, and it's worth mentioning that tonight we will be using the older version of Pheonix International Raceway. This is the pre-renovation project, pre-redesign, so the track that they raced and iRacing scanned back in 2008. So not the pretty paved, wide dogleg version. It's the old one, but still a very racy and a very exciting racetrack for all of us to enjoy here tonight. Only a 55 lapper. That is going to be extremely exciting to watch. These guys not going to have much time to work with, going to have to be up on the wheel the entirety of the event, so that should create an extremely exciting race all the way through. As always, with us here on Vidane TV, make sure to join in on the conversation, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube. Make sure to hit us up here in the chat. We do shout-outs. We like knowing who's out there watching our product each and every time that we go live. If you're having a little viewing party, feel free to add any photos that with the hashtag Vidane TV so we can check all that stuff out. You can see over here on the Facebook broadcast, got Lacey Brunel back in her usual spot in our chat, getting ready for this thing to fire off. So great to see you, Lacey, and anybody else that is watching. Numbers looking pretty good here on the early stages. So just about halfway through the qualifying session here. Early look is the defending series champion John Peters currently at the top of the charts with a 28.301. Ryan Libby second place in qualifying. He just bettered his lap time just shy of the pole at a 28.312. Then we have Kenny Kibbe, Devin Marhefka, and Corey Casagrande to round out the top 5 starters. Currently have 24 cars that have taken time, a big field of drivers, a 1 mile flat speedway to race on tonight. 55 laps to Design Lab 55. Lots of awesome variables for some good racing.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this, Kyle. You look down the list, obviously there's some real race car drivers here that I'm familiar with, guys like John Peters and Joey Dwyer and Brent Roy. And you look at the names that are synonymous with iRacing, and especially some of the races that we do here on Vidane TV. This is a stacked little field. You said this is race number 2. How did race number 1 go?
Race number 1 was very good. We kicked it off last week at the Daytona International Speedway. The first half of the race, very competitive, very racy. Things got, as they usually do, exciting and a little bit dramatic towards the second half of the race. And in a wild, controversial, on-the-apron pass, it was Danny O'Quinn Jr. who picked up the victory to kick off this season. Of course, you are probably familiar with that name if you are a NASCAR fan. Danny O'Quinn Jr., the former NASCAR Xfinity Series Rookie of the Year back in 2006. He was the Rookie of the Year in the 2003 USAR Hooters Pro Cup South, and also the 2002 UARA Late Model Series champion. Unfortunately, Danny is not with us tonight. He is not in the server, has not put down a lap in qualifying, so we will not have to think about a back-to-back repeat performance out of Danny, but we will be able to have another competitive event, and some of our top competitors from last week's event are back here tonight. Ryan Libby was up towards the front of the field the majority of that race. He, as mentioned, currently on the outside pole. John Peters, the defending series champion, always a threat in this series, on the pole right now, and some of the other top competitors that we see each and every week in this series. so far showing their strength. And we also got some new names up there too. Of course, this being a much different racetrack than what Daytona International Speedway is, provides these drivers with much different skill sets, much different necessary adjustments to be successful. So it should be another classic race with the New England, Pennsylvania group.
Yeah, the qualifying just wrapping up. The race director going over the final couple of notes for the drivers, meaning to get these drivers ready to go. I think you mentioned well over 20 drivers taking time in qualifying, Kyle, 24 taking time. So this is going to be a great race. And you mentioned the difference in between a Daytona and even this Pheonix racetrack is a 1 mile racetrack. We kind of saw it back in the winter when we had our other series where this racetrack, it might have the short track characteristics, but it races completely different and kind of brings everybody together, especially with these Grand National cars. Excited to see how this one plays out. 55 laps, not a long way to get around here, but these laps can click off fairly quickly with this race car.
Oh, absolutely true. We're seeing right now low to mid 28-second laps throughout the majority of the field in qualifying. So if this thing stays green, 55 laps, you're looking at not even a 25-minute race, I don't think, with that math. So if things stay clean and green, we could see a very quick show here tonight. And a great point that you mentioned there is that with this being a 1 mile racetrack, you would think that it's just a typical speedway, but it's really not. It's a speedway that races like a short track. It's flat. It requires heavy braking. It's very slow through the turns compared to the speeds that you get through the straightaways. So it really is a short track like race, although it is a 1 mile speedway.
As these cars begin to grid, it's easy to kind of overshoot and kind of forget where those braking points are, though, Kyle, especially with this racetrack, because you're on the wood for so long going down the straightaway. You kind of get into the corner, and if you overshoot a little bit, that guy on the outside is going to have to react a little bit differently, and we could end up wadding up a bunch of race cars real quick. So this is a different racetrack compared to some of those short tracks, and obviously different than what you guys did last week at Daytona. But these cars are gridding, getting ready to go racing.
Indeed, they are. We'll take you through some of the top starters here as we get ready to kick off the Design Lab 55. Your pole sitter, as mentioned, the defending series champion. He drives the number 51 machine. He has the 1999 Mike Stefanik NASCAR Busch North Series throwback on it. Driving from Westbrook, Maine, that is John Peters, and your outside pole sitter in the number 46 machine. He drives the 2000 Todd Bodine NASCAR Busch Series throwback from Plainville, Connecticut. That is Ryan Libby. Starting in position number 3, driving car number 15, he's got the 1997 Jerry Marquise NASCAR Busch North Series throwback on that car from, oh boy, I might butcher this one, Muskegon, Michigan. We'll go with Kenny Kibbe, and the 22 car of Devin Marhefka will start in position number 4. He has a 2005 Robbie Marhefka throwback on his machine. Wrapping up your top 5 starters here in the number 52 car, he has the 1987 Bruce Haley NASCAR Busch North Series throwback on his machine from Stafford, Connecticut. That is Corey Casagrande. And the number 56 car going to roll off in position number 6. That machine has the 2003 Robbie Harrison NASCAR Busch North Series throwback on it from Durham, Maine. That is Evan Bollier. Inside of row number 4, starting in position number 7, the number 73 machine. That is Joe Doran. I hope I said that one right. I probably should have confirmed that before we got on here. His dancing partner to the outside in position number 8, driving car number 61. He's got a 1990s Mike Olson NASCAR Busch North Series throwback on it. From Greensburg, Pennsylvania, that is Brandon Newhouse. And completing your top 10 starters, the number 47 machine. That is Lucas Labani. Lucas driving the 2001 Kelly Moore NASCAR Busch Series throwback and completing the top 10 in car number 26. That is Brent Roy. Brent has no information on him from me, so he is just in the 26 machine completing the top 10. Half a lap away from going green flag, the Design Lab 55. Race number 2 of this series should be a great one. We are so glad to have all of you here with us. It was a great season opener last week at Daytona. We are ready to kick things off here once again for the second race of the season here at Pheonix International Raceway. Your pole sitter, the defending series champion John Peters, and outside of him Ryan Libby, a driver that we saw dominate the early stages of last week's race at Daytona. We'll see what he can do here this week at Phoenix. Pace truck is on pit road, the green flag is in the air, and the Design Lab 55 for the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National North Series is underway. Ryan Libby has the early advantage and is going to move around the pole sitter John Peters for the race lead into turns 1 and 2, and off at turn 2 down the dog leg for the first time. Ryan Libby takes over control over Peters.
It looks like your top 5, top 6 or so going to get single file, and even you look back to the 56 and 52, they're kind of nose to tail, but the battle for the lead heating up. John Peters not letting Ryan Libby go, the 51, taking a look over the back bumper, the 46, as they dial into corner number 1, 1 lap complete.
Clean green throughout the opening circuit here at Phoenix. Ooh, a little bit of wall contact there out of third place. Devin Marhefka getting into the outside wall. No harm, no foul, just a slight little kiss. Wanted to find the track limits here early on in this one. John Peters not letting Ryan Libby get too far out ahead of him. Give it about a car length in between those two machines as they click off lap number 2. Nice clean start throughout the field. Everybody getting into a rhythm, but you can't get it too comfortable. Just 55 laps in this one. Got to be up. Oh, when Ryan Libby goes and slaps that outside wall, that's going to lose some momentum on his number 46 machine. John Peters gets to the outside going into turn number 3. Side-by-side battle for the lead.
Yeah, we saw it there. It's easy to get out of the rhythm at this racetrack, especially in the early going, trying to find your way around here. And Ryan Libby going to have damage to the side of that 46, the way he hit that wall. Peters goes back to the advantage up in front. Marhefka running in position number 3 right now. So those top 3, you can see it there from that wide shot. It looks like, for the most part, they found a place to race. Not a whole lot of pressuring for positions. We saw the 46 hit the wall. Pick up that spot if you can, but early in this race, lap number 4 going to be completed this time. Not a whole lot of sense of urgency here, especially in the top 10.
Bit of a 3-car breakaway up in front. John Peters has the race lead. Ryan Libby is second, and Devin Marhefka currently in third. Then there's a little bit of space back to the number 15 machine of Kenny Kibbe. Kibbe has a little bit of space to work without the rear view mirror, as well as Evan Bollier completing the top 5 right now. Bollier not really too much space back to Corey Casagrande. Casagrande, Doran, Brendan Newhouse, Lucas Labani, and Zane Farrell to complete the top 10 here in the early stages. Everybody getting the laps in, getting comfortable with their machines, and trying to figure out where they can improve as we click off lap number 5.
A side-by-side battle between the 47 and the 61. 61 on the outside is Newhouse trying to maintain that position away from the 47 of Labonte, and look at that 47, that Kelly Moore looking paint scheme, taking a look to the inside, trying to pick up one more spot, but not able to do it here. He'll try off of corner number 4 to get that run. They'll be side by side down the front straightaway.
Give the advantage going into turn number 1 to Labani. Labani going to drive it in deep. Almost throws a bit of a dirt track slide job on this 61 of Newhouse, and Newhouse is going to cross him over coming off of turn number 2. Off the top side of the turn, though, the 47 of Labani, he's got the advantage, and now he will clear the 61 of Newhouse. Newhouse has to defend once again as the 49 machine of Zane Farrell sneaks underneath, and he makes quick work of the little trees number 61 of Newhouse. He will take over that position as well. So Zane Farrell moving his way up through the field, up 2 spots here in the early going. Started in 11th, and he's now in 9th.
And the 26 of Brent Roy trying to get into the picture as well. The 2-time Speedway 660 track champion. Almost got the wall there off of corner number 2, trying to get that spot, but the 61 going to slam the door and now opens the door for the 64 of Bennett. Bennett flashing that nose to the inside, trying to pick up one more spot. They'll come by this time, complete lap number 8, status quo up in front. Marhefka trying to take a look on this battle for the lead, but pretty much status quo up front. There's a shot of those top 3 going for the lead.
Yeah, these top 3 had not separated themselves whatsoever from each other. Nice tight battle going on. Kenny Kibbe sees that. I think he may have closed in a few car lengths, but nothing too severe just yet. Trying to figure out what those guys up in front of him have. That's a little bit better than his number 15 at the moment, but still looking strong in position number 4. Lap number 9 goes in the books. Still John Peters. Ryan Libby now closing in on the back bumper through the center of 1 and 2. Peters going to separate that gap just a little bit coming off the turn, and we'll try to keep that momentum going down the back straightaway.
kind of a fun little game of cat and mouse up in front right now, Kyle. Those top three are kind of playing with each other. The 22 of Marhefka will take a look at Libby. Libby will take a look at John Peters. Obviously, that damage on the 46 not hindering as much as I thought it would on that number 46 as you're right on board with Marhefka looking up those top two. There's a nice little shot at that right-hand side. There's a little bit of a crinkle there, but it almost looks as much cosmetic as anything because it's not really slowing him down a ton.
No, not at all. You definitely cannot tell any performance difference on that number 46 machine. And he learned the lesson early on. He hasn't been up into that outside wall ever since. So sometimes that happens. You step over the boundary. You have to step over the boundary in order to find the boundary sometimes. So that's exactly what Ryan Libby seems to have done here. As he's kept the car off the wall ever since that moment. Just can't quite get back to the race lead yet. And now over these last couple laps, John Peters putting just a little bit of space in between himself and the 46, hoping that Marhefka can get either to the inside or the outside of Ryan Libby's Todd Bodine throwback and start a battle so he can pull away even more.
And this is the point in the run, Kyle, where the fuel is starting to burn off a little bit with this being a bigger racetrack. Cars are going to handle a little bit different. You're going to have guys coming and going throughout this pack as you look back from your leader, John Peters, and that gap continues to grow, though the 46 of Ryan Libby that time into 1 and 2 kind of closed it up a little bit. I think John Peters likes this longer run. You can see him pulling away from the rest of this field, but still plenty of laps to run, but enough laps as a kind of an example point to try to figure out what your car has over a run. We'll complete 13 this time.
It's absolutely true. The top five still sitting the same. A bit of a change back behind these guys. Position number 6 now being held by the 73 machine of Joe Doran, and Doran is now going to the inside of Evan Bollier for a top 5 spot. Bollier now having to defend position number 5 on Joe Doran. They're going to go side by side into turn number 3. That battle doesn't last long. A great drive entering turn 3 for the 73. He is going to take over position number 5. Now here comes Corey Casagrande right on Bollier's back bumper, looking to do the same. Wasn't able to take advantage in 3 and 4. The door shut after Doran got through. But Casagrande now right on the back bumper, looking to drop Evan Bollier back another position.
And you look back as you ride on board with Casagrande trying to set up that 56, takes a little look down to the inside, can't do that through corners number 3 and 4, at least can't get that run. Try to get the run off the corner here as long as he's got enough space to go to the inside and do so, but can't off of corner number 4, so that battle continues to be nose to tail. And we saw it in a couple of those wide shots before we went to the in-car. There's really not a whole lot of battling throughout this pack. This is a great little battle within. There's that shot right there. One car a little slow off the pace at a turn number 2, but for the most part, a lot of respect shown by these guys, Kyle, early in this race. Going to complete lap number 16 this time by.
It's nothing out of the ordinary for this group, always putting on clean, competitive races. Corey Casagrande going to take another look to the inside of Evan Bollier. Bollier able to hang on once again as they come off the turn number 4. You're seeing a classic battle that this racetrack is able to produce with the flatter banked turns all the way around this racetrack. It really keeps each line very competitive. You have to figure out where you're better at. If you're better up in the middle groove, the high groove down on the bottom. And so far, Evan Bollier, although he did lose a spot to the 73 of Joe Doran just a few laps ago, he's able to use that middle groove to hang on over Corey Casagrande. Casagrande not able to find the grip that he needs down on the bottom. Maybe the line that Evan is using is the line that he prefers to drive, but he obviously can't use that to pass Evan with him being there. So he's trying to make that inside work, but just can't quite do it yet. And he's falling back here in these last couple laps just to try to readjust and see what he needs to do different.
And Dwyron in the 73 really hasn't been able to pull away a whole lot from those guys behind him, but in turn really hasn't been able to make a whole lot of ground on the leaders in front of him. Kenny Kibbe might be falling back a little bit every lap we go, but Joey hasn't been able to keep the or make any advantage up on John Peters and the rest of the field up in front. So we'll see if he can pull away, make anything happen, but this battle that's going on in behind him between the 56 and the 52 still raging on. But other than that, not really a whole lot of action going on. These guys content to ride right now, at least in the top 10.
Just 19 laps into tonight's design lap 55, so rapidly approaching the halfway mark here, just shy of 10 minutes in. Looking through the field a little bit further outside of the top 10 that we've already spoken about. Your 11th place runner right now in the 26 machine is Brent Roy. Brent right on top of Brandon Newhouse in the 61 for that top 10. He's using the way high side, Kyle Larson line going into turn number 3 there. He drops back down to the bottom side coming off the turn number 4, trying to put his number 26 Toyota Camry inside the top 10. Behind Brent Roy, another car that we saw very strong last week at Daytona, the 01 of Charles Lewandowski. He is currently in position at number 11, trying to reel in on that battle for the top 10 spots. Behind him, sporting a new paint scheme tonight. I didn't quite get the information on it, but I did see that it is a new paint scheme for the 96 of Wyatt Alexander this week. The K&B Auto Ride, I believe he's on the quarter panels there. The 64, Michael Bennett, we talked about him earlier on. He's kind of slipped back outside of the top 10 and finds a home right now in position number 14. And then Ryan Pasoko in the 74, completing the top 15 drivers.
And, you know, just behind him, we talk about movers. We haven't had a caution flag. We haven't had a restart to really shake the field up. But right in behind him is Dylan Kopech. And Kopech started back in 25th, up to position number 16. So he's made some moves. Hopkins in behind him, up to position number 17. Started in 19th. The 31 car is up 3 spots. You look at DJ Gerard. He's up a spot as well. But the biggest, I think, loser in this battle, and there's positions to be made here as they come out of corner number 4, is the driver that was running in 20th the last time, the 58 of Thomas Morris, has lost 6 spots already so far in this one. Kyle back to position number 20. I'm sure he's hoping for a caution to, you know, kind of get those tires cooled down, maybe come down and get some new ones.
And it looks like the slip is going to continue for Thomas Morris as he lost the battle with the 81 machine of DJ Gerard. Now he's side by side with the 76 of Matt Kenfield. And they're going to go 3 wide coming off at turn number 4 here in the middle in car number 7. That is Kyle Casagrande. That 3 wide didn't last too long as the 76 of Kenfield was able to clear both of those guys. Casagrande gets around the 58 and is now looking to the inside of the 76 of Kenfield. DJ Gerard makes a bit of a mistake. We've got contact between the 76 and the 7. They're able to hang on, keep it clean and green. Big wiggle going through the dogleg by the 58 of Thomas Morris. Everybody hanging on, but right here in the back of the pack, great side-by-side hard-nosed racing.
Casagrande kind of went a little wide through the dogleg. The 58 kind of had to react, and you kind of saw that juke and jive up the racetrack from Morris to try to stay off of the 7, and he's kind of committed to that outside line now as he tries to pick up that spot as they go around on that outside line. Great little pack racing back here, but it's around that 20th place position. You're not missing anything up in front. John Peters has pulled away. Hello, 7 car into the infield.
Casagrande and Thomas Morris made a little contact going through the dogleg. Casagrande got all sorts of out of shape, had to use a bit of the grass to save it. He was able to do so, and not only saves the car, but continues his side-by-side battle with Thomas Morris, driving it in deep, going into turn number 1, trying to get a nose ahead of the 58. The 58 pushes up towards the safer barrier, gets a little wiggle. Casagrande not able to take advantage of it too much. They're still dead even. Great fight going on back here for position number 21. The 44 machine of Scott McDonald right behind, trying to figure out where he needs to go to get into this battle and get around these guys. And then the 0 machine of Matt Shinowski just behind as well.
Yeah, they continue to battle up there. There's your check-in up front, and John Peters in a league of his own right now. There's a lap car in front of him, and then about a second and a half back to Ryan Libby and the rest of the field. The battle for about 9th place or so is starting to heat up. It's not to a boil yet, but it's starting to heat up because you've got Zane Farrell, Brent Roy, Brandon Newhouse, and Charles Lewandowski. Lewandowski has been making some time up, caught this battle, but Kyle, ever since he's caught it, he really hasn't had an opportunity to do anything with the 3 in front of him.
This group of cars, another group that hasn't really been able to separate themselves out while we were watching that battle for positions 20 to 21 on back. Now, as soon as you say that, Tim, Lewandowski is able to get to the inside of Brandon Newhouse. He had the position at the line. Let's see what happens into turn number 1. Drives it in deep, washes up to that middle lane. Newhouse comes down to the bottom a little bit and sacrifices that position to the 0-1 of Charles Lewandowski. So now we'll see if Lewandowski can challenge for a top 10 position. Reel in the 26 of Brent Roy, the 49 of Zane Farrell in position number 9. And then there's a little bit of work that needs to be done. Oh no, that's a lap machine. A lot of bit of work that needs to be done to catch the 47 of Lucas Labani. Just completed lap number 29, so we are beyond the halfway mark here in the Design Lab 55. We've been green flagged the entire way. Ryan Libby was able to take the race lead off the start from pole sitter John Peters. Peters was able to take the lead away from Ryan Libby after Ryan made a mistake and slapped the outside wall in turn number 2, and it has been John Peters ever since. A 2-second lead over Libby now as lap 30 goes in the books.
We get a battle for position number 3, side by side. The 15 of Kenny Kibbe on the inside as we have pit stops starting. The 22 of Marhefka working position number 3 right now as they go through the dog leg. There it is on your screen. It's almost like the Marhefka car is the 15 up the racetrack a little bit. The 22 of Marhefka tries to keep him pinned down to the inside as the 15 kind of uses that flat to get that car to turn. We're in that point of the run. We're over halfway in this race. You really got to get what you can, but it's almost like Marhefka's car has kind of given up a little bit, Kyle. It's like he used up his stuff, and now we've got a party. Here comes Dwyer looking for a spot. The 56 is up here as well. We got a 4-car party for position number 3.
2 side-by-side battles going on. Marhefka able to hold off Kenny Kibbe for the moment, but Kibbe is still all over the back bumper of the 22 of Devin Marhefka. Now they're going to single file out as Evan Bollier was able to keep himself ahead of Joe Dwyer in there in position number 5. Oh, now the 73 nearly gets into the left rear corner panel of the 56. They're able to avoid contact there. And as soon as that happens, side-by-side reignites with the 15 and the 22. Kenny Kibbe's slight advantage going into turn number 3. Pulling ahead, here comes Marhefka again through the center. Kenny Kibbe could have it this time coming off at turn number 4. A little bit of a wiggle from Marhefka, not quite clear as they hit the line.
We said a little bit earlier, as you're riding on board with the 56 car, it's easy to overdrive this racetrack, especially with the tires that have 34 laps on them. You're racing in traffic. It's kind of easy to overdrive the race car at this point, especially in the run. We saw it with Joey Dwyer a couple laps ago, racing with the 56 car for that spot. Now you see the 56 taking a peek underneath the 22, and the 15 of Kibbe will pull away, and we're going to see some drivers on some different strategies here. We started to see some drivers come down onto pit road. David Arute right ahead of the leaders, one of your drivers that is 1 lap down, as they will battle it out for position number 3.
Continuing to fight for that spot, Devin Marhefka lost it to Kenny Kibbe. Kibbe now starting to pull away, and Joe Dwyer, and he was able to get around Evan Bollier and is now looking to the outside of Marhefka as they squeeze 3 wide with David Arute down on the bottom, giving these leaders plenty of space. Everybody gets on okay. Dwyer will move into position number 4, and now Marhefka trying to hang on to position 5 over Evan Bollier. Bollier on the top side, Marhefka down on the bottom off of turn number 2. It will be Bollier to complete the pass. So Devin Marhefka continuing to fall back. He was 3rd. He loses all 3 of those spots. He's now at the back of this pack. And if that has anything to say what could happen over these next few laps, he may lose touch with them and fall into the clutches of Corey Casagrande in the 52 machine.
Yeah, up in the front, John Peters continues to kind of pull away. It's been about 2.25 seconds or so between himself and Ryan Libby. And then Libby has about 2 seconds or so on Kibbe as the 3rd place battle or 4th place battle continues to heat up. Joey and Evan going at it for that spot as they put a lap on the 58 car. I believe the 58 may have just come off of pit road. Potentially Thomas Morris 1 lap down to the field, sitting in 23rd.
Yeah, the rough night for Thomas Morris continuing. He's lost a lap, lost a couple more positions from when we saw that, and was able to get out of the way of that battle that was going on that we were just focusing on. It's still kind of there. Evan Bollier and Joe Dwyer, they were able to get their way around Devin Marhefka, and now they're still fighting it out for position number 4. Kenny Kibbe kind of leaving that battle and taking sole possession over position number 3. Bollier not letting the 73 go easily. Dwyer had a little bit of a wiggle there coming off at turn 4. Bollier had a wall slap coming off at turn 4. So these guys really pushing their cars to the limit here as we now have just 17 laps to go. So time is winding down here in the Design Lab 55.
Yeah, Evan's car may have just kind of got away from him in turn 4. Goes to the inside of Dwyer in here, battling for position number 4. And it almost looked like his car got away from him a little bit, almost scraped the wall coming off of turn 4 the last time, but no harm, no foul. We saw that with Ryan Libby a little bit earlier, though. Ryan kind of pancaked the wall out of turn number 2. Nothing doing there right now for position number 4, as you see that 2nd place driver, Ryan Libby, all by himself right now. He's got a little bit of comfort back to position number 3. Kenny Kibbe in 3rd, about 2 and change behind. There's the 15 car on your screen. And then you look back to that battle with Joey Dwyron and the rest, Marhefka kind of falling off. So it's almost a two-car battle here for position number 4 as we creep closer to the end of the race, 15 to go.
15 laps in, just shy of 20 minutes, so I guess we'll get a really good look at my prediction of the 25 minutes if we stay caution-free. Of course, I may just jinx it as well, so we'll see what happens there. Evan Bollier, Joe Dwyron, reigniting that battle, side by side once again going into turn number 3. Bollier on the top, Dwyron down on the bottom. Dwyron's got the advantage, coming off of turn number 4 by about a bumper. Man, that was close at the line, just about dead even. The fight continues into turn number 1. Bollier with the advantage, entering that turn. Bollier flashes for a quick minute, but flashes again, so that's not good. Could be having some connection issues. He's going to complete the pass. Hopefully those issues are quickly resolved, and Evan Bollier now goes back to position number 4.
So goes to the outside, and we'll see if he can make any time up on Kibbe in position number 3. It looks like they made up a little bit of time in the last couple laps, but not really anything to report home. There's still a few laps to go in this one, clicking down towards the end of this one, Kyle. Evan's got some work to do to catch Kenny. Up in front, going to go by that lap car of the 81 here this time by. But there's Joey Dwyron on your screen trying to chase down that 56. And Marhefka hasn't been able to make any inroads. And Corey Casagrande in behind hasn't been able to make up any time in that battle either as they were going at it.
Yeah, and the pack that we saw just about 10 to 15 laps ago has definitely separated out. Devin Marhefka dropping off. Kenny Kibbe, clearly the best of that 4-car fight as he has left Evan Bollier by about a second and a half now. He's still just under 2 seconds behind Ryan Libby in second place, and only with, let's see here, coming to 11 laps to go. Kibbe's going to have to really get up on the wheel if he wants a shot at position number 2. Either that or hope for a late race caution here to erase the gap. Obviously, that's not what John Peters wants to see. The lead now 2.3 seconds back to Ryan Libby. He's led the majority of this race, proving to us that Season 1 is going to go a lot like Season 2 for that number 51 team. Won the championship in Season 1 earlier this year. He had a great run going at Daytona last week until he got caught up in some trouble and had to work his way back through the field late in the going. I think he was still able to get himself a top 10 finish, but this is the John Peters that we are very familiar with seeing in this series, leading laps, looking to be on his way to victory, but of course you never quite know what's going to happen in the final 10.
And you look at the top 4, top 5 in times, especially the top 4, they're still turning 29.5s or so in that bracket, Kyle. So the gap really hasn't changed a whole lot. A couple of hundreds here, a couple thousands here. I think out of the top 4, Kenny Kibbe might be the most inconsistent, and I don't like to use that word, but the caution flag is out, so let's forget that point. 46-lap run comes to an end.
First caution flag of the race comes out just after the 10 to go mark. I believe we have issues with the number 64 of Michael Bennett. Looks like he bounced around with a couple of cars and found trouble over there in turn number 2. Paul, just when you thought all you had to do was press the buttons and make the show look pretty, we get to bring you in on the mic for the first time to take us through that one.
Absolutely. Jam-packed race here this afternoon, this evening, whatever time of day it is. May or may not have cracked into some ice-cold Trulies before the race to get some wobbly pop action going. But we're taking a look at Michael Bennett right here. You can see the 64. Gets him to the back of the 67, gets him out of shape, checks up just a little bit. Dylan Kopech in that 09 machine, nowhere to go. Kind of sends a 64 machine around. He grabs a gear, gets it on moving. So no major damage, no big hits or anything like that. A little bit of bent-up sheet metal, maybe some hot heads there in the middle towards the back of the pack, it looks like. But a good opportunity for these guys to kind of pull the belts tight and see what they've got left in the tank, both figuratively and mentally. We got less than 10 to go. Looks like we're going to restart with 4 or 5 laps to go here. So it's going to be an interesting race now that we've got everybody kind of closed up, and it looks like we got some pit stops going on too.
We sure do. The majority of the field down here on pit road getting fresh rubber for this restart. Your winner off of pit road was the 52 of Corey Casagrande. He won that race by a long shot over John Peters. After Peters, we have Ryan Libby, then Evan Bollier, Devin Marhefka, Zane Farrell gaining some positions on pit road. He comes out, I believe, just outside of the top 5 now. And then it is Joe Dwyron, the Lucas Labani 47, Brandon Newhouse, and looks like Wyatt Alexander after that.
Yeah, so they raced their way off pit road. You can see that on your screen. That's a great little graphic there from Showtime Strickland as we work around under this caution flag. The 74 car is scored as your leader, and he is going to be the lone one on this racetrack, Kyle, that did not come down pit road. I don't think John Peters, everybody in behind, came down pit road, got service to their race cars. So should be a very interesting restart. The only other driver on the racetrack is Shinosky in the 0 car, stayed on the racetrack. I believe he'll get a wave around potentially when we go back here.
Yeah, Ryan Pasoko trying some late race strategy here. He was running in position number 15 directly behind that incident when the caution flag flew. So we are going to have 5 laps at the most once we go back green. So he's going to use this as an opportunity to try to get a better position than what he had here in the final stages. So we'll have to see how well Ryan Pasoko is able to keep himself at the front of the field. There must have been some type of an issue on the pit stop for the 52 machine of Corey Casagrande, as he did come back down pit road once the field came back around and returned for service. So he will not restart up at the front of the field after winning the race off of pit road. Your front row is going to be Ryan Pasoko and John Peters. Ryan Libby in position number 3 with Evan Boyd at the outside. Devin Marhefka, Zane Farrell, row 3. Joe Dwyer and Lucas Labani, row 4. And completing the top 10, Brandon Newhouse and Brent Roy.
We'll see how this restart shakes out with those old tires. You would think the 51 would have the advantage on the outside, but as the leader, you have to... you control this one. The 51 on the outside of Peters kind of has to wait to let the 74 Pasoko go, as they'll come by this time, take the green flag, have only 5 laps remaining in this one. So we'll see how this one shakes out. Pace car about to dunk off.
As mentioned, 5 to go here in the Design Lab 55. Ryan Pasoko trying some pit strategy. Will it work? He was running 15th beforehand. The green flag is back out, and we are underway once again. Great restart by John Peters. He gets the lead at the line. What happens as they come down into turn number 1? He's clear of Pasoko on the bottom. He'll move down to the yellow line. Evan Boyer going to do the same. How about 3 wide for position number 3 coming off of turn 2? Dwyer and hard into the outside wall in turn 2. He keeps it straight. We stay green.
And somehow these drivers maintain the forward momentum. What a run by that 46 to the inside, as there's drivers starting to go all the way around that 74. There goes the 47 taking a peek, but continues to be the battle up in front. The 47 car. We got one in the wall on the inside. We stay green. No, we don't. Caution flag is out.
Junk here on the front straightaway into turn number 1. You mentioned it as it was happening there, Tim. The 47 of Lucas Labani. He was trying to make a move on the inside of the 74 of Ryan Pasoko, and looks like Pasoko got himself a little sideways. Labani had to check up, and all hell broke loose from there. Multiple cars getting involved in this one. Lots of damage on the front straightaway, and that's going to set up, I believe, our first and only green-white checkered. Paul, what did you see up there in the booth?
Man, it's one of those late race calls that kind of comes around and bites you in the ass, bites you in the butt there. The number 74 of Pasoko stayed out on old tires, and everybody else came in for at least 2. I believe John Peters, the 51, came down for 2 tires and had the advantage there. But we're going to take a look right here. You can see 74 is out of shape, kind of up high. Tries to come, it looks like he almost tries to come down, but the car doesn't really want to get there. The back end of the car wiggles a little bit, nowhere for the 47 to go, and he sends on around. You can see he gets clipped there. Oh, big nose-to-nose hit. 78 ran really, really well last week at Daytona. Collects a couple of other cars here as we're taking a look here from the Goodyear blimp. A lot of big-time damage here. The few cars about middle of the pack. But, man, it's going to put John Peters back in the lead, and he wins this race. He's going to put himself right in the championship hunt again. It's going to be really hard to knock him back off that throne.
It really will. We know how strong John Peters is as a competitor. He's shown that throughout the entirety of this race so far. Now he's going to have to really work for it. And if there's anybody that can steal this win away, I know for a fact it can be that 56 car of Evan Boyer. Evan Boyer, another one of the top competitors here with the New England, Pennsylvania group. He has some victories with this group from the last season. I believe he was the IROC All-Star champion that happened after season 1, the little 3-race mini-series. I believe he was the champion back a few months ago. He's been inside the top 5 the entirety of this race. He's had some great battles. He's looked strong. Now he's going to have one last opportunity to try to steal this win away from John Peters. We will have to go to a green-white checker. We will only do it once. So Bollier has to be perfect if he's going to try to steal this one away. And how about the number 49 of Zane Farrell? Farrell now enters his name into the mix. He started in 11th. He was kind of hanging out around the back part of the top 10 throughout the entirety of this race. He had a great pit stop under that first caution, was able to make some moves under that short little run, and now he's going to take the restart in position number 3 with a shot to also spoil the party and potentially get this win.
With the way everything shakes out, Ryan Libby's going to start on the outside of row number 2. If he was starting on the inside, I would almost think that 46 would have an opportunity to try to make a move like he did on that last restart, but don't count out Libby for a top 3 run here. Marhefka, we've seen him have a really good short run car, or at least run this race car on the short run a little bit harder than everybody else and get a little more speed out of it. But a short run of 2 laps, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do from position number 5. And then you still have Pasoko out there on the older tires, currently being scored in position number 6 with Dwyron in behind him, and some of those drivers in behind have a little bit of damage. So from about 5th on back, it gets a little bit dicey, Kyle, but we'll see what happens here on the only green-white checker attempt. They should get the one to go this time.
Indeed, we will. One to go. Lining him up, looks like John Peters going to take the outside line. He was asking about that. He got the answer he wanted, so he's going to choose the outside line for this restart. That will put Evan Bollier down to the inside for this one and only green-white checker finish. So give it to us, Facebook chat. Anybody that's out there, who do you got? John Peters, that's dominated this whole race. Evan Bollier looking to steal the show. I see we have some Bollier fans in the chat with Ryan Ratcliffe pulling for Evan Bollier. Lindsay Bollier in here, another one of our regular viewers. Their man has a shot to take over the victory in the Design Lab 55. Pace truck getting ready to duck down onto pit road for the final time. Green-white checker, extra laps, bonus racing for free. Who will get this one done? Green flag is out. We are underway again. And John Peters, a great restart on that outside line. Just about clears Bollier at the start-finish line. But Bollier's starting to come back. He's at the quarter panel on entry. And now Peters able to clear through the center. Ryan Libby on the top side moves to second place.
Does Libby have anything left in the tank? Was quick on the short run earlier, got that damage repaired, and now trying to chase down that 51 car. Will they be able to make it back to the white flag in time? They come off of corner number 4, down the front straightaway. John Peters will see the white flag. Final lap. Does Ryan Libby have anything left to dig deep and try to steal a win away? Coming down the back straightaway, Kyle, bring us home.
Off at turn number 2 for the final time. Ryan Libby, about 3 car lengths back to John Peters. Into 3 they go. He's a little bit too far back to try the bump and run. He's going to drive it in deep, but it's not going to be enough. Out of turn number 4, the defending champion goes to victory lane for the first time this season. John Peters wins the Design Lab 55 at Pheonix International Raceway. A dominating performance. He caps it off with the win. Held off the charges of Ryan Libby and Evan Bollier on a late race green-white checkered and goes to victory lane. Ryan Libby hangs on for position number 2. Evan Bollier finishes 3rd. Zane Farrell 4th. Devin Marhefka completing your top 5. Anthony Aiello, how about that name? We haven't talked about him all night. He will finish in position number 6. Charles Lewandowski 7th. Brandon Uhouse in 8th. The no pit stop strategy on the first caution there. It pays off a little bit for Ryan Pasoko. He finishes better than what he was running. He comes home in 9th. And Corey Casagrande completes your top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, you look at that second page. Dylan Kopech made some moves early in the race, was able to get that long run speed as John Peters lights it up on the front straightaway. Kenny Kibbe ran in the top 3 all night long, comes home back outside the top 10 in position number 12. Lucas Labonte, Scott McDonald, Joey Dwyer, another driver that ran in the top 5 all night long, 15th. Shinosky got the free pass or got a wave around on one of those caution flags, comes back to 16th. Wyatt Alexander, 17th, 18th. Michael Bennett, Brent Roy finishes at the end of the field. Got a little bit of damage on that last wreck, finishes 19th. And DJ Gerard, top 20.
So we had quite a bit there. We had some front runners get the runs that they got. Some drivers that we didn't even really make much of a mention tonight steal some solid finishes, and some other guys that probably should have finished better than what they did and ran better than where they finished struggled late in the going when it meant the most, and suffering some finishes that they don't quite deserve and probably aren't too happy with as we wrap up this one. So it's early in the season. Early in the season here with this series, momentum extremely important all the way through, and John Peters getting to open up the season with his first victory of the year. Not at all what any of these other drivers want to see, but it's what John does as the defending series champion. So here we go. We'll chit chat here with some of our top competitors. We're down here able to get a word with your third place finisher, Evan Bullier. Evan, what a race this was. The Design Lab 55 had a long stretch of green flag racing that almost saw this entirety go green flag, caution flag with 10 to go. You were right in the heat of a lot of the battles throughout that top 5 there. What was that like from your end?
Yeah, it was a really good race for us. I think we were going to be a 5th or 6th place car. I knew we had to save tires. We were wearing them out pretty bad throughout a long run, and I didn't realize we were going to go that long. But we were trying to make some moves there, and then once we got that yellow, we got a good pit stop. Came out to run second.
Had the opportunity to try to steal the victory away from John here on that final restart. Weren't able to do it. You almost got next to him. What do you think you needed to be able to contend a little bit better?
Yeah, the bottom, you could not stick coming out of 2 on the bottom, and that's really all it was. I mean, I restarted 4th on the caution before that, and I knew I was in a great spot then, but didn't quite work out on that last restart. That, and John was he had us covered tonight.
It's no surprise to see you up here in the booth after a solid performance. Kind of seems to be the norm with you. Who would you like to thank for tonight's third place finish?
Yeah, I got to thank all my great partners, Hancock Lumber, Restorations, Home Remodeling, Bullier Construction, Nitro Designs, everybody that makes this team go, AMSOIL, Four Seasons Synthetic, Bonafide Builders. We got to thank my wife for staying up again tonight. She kind of gets upset if I don't thank her and on the podium after a race. I thank her for always supporting me, and everybody else that supports us. It's funny. It's fun to see a lot of people tune in for these races and giving them something to watch on a weeknight. It's great to hear from all of them, and thanks to Corey and everybody at Shift Marketing for putting this series on. It's a ton of fun. Thank you, Vidane TV for broadcasting it.
Always a pleasure to be here with you, and always a pleasure to talk to Evan Bullier, your third place finisher tonight. He sports the number 56. He has the 2003 Robbie Harrison NASCAR Busch Series North paint scheme on that ride. A successful racer in the real world with 2 Legends championships to his name. He's a Pro Series winner at the Beach Ridge Motor Speedway up in Maine. Currently races super late models. And once again, a podium finish here with the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing Design Grand National Series. We'll send things over to Tim, who has caught up with our runner-up finisher, the 46 of Ryan Libby.
See if we can't get Ryan Libby on the horn here. Ryan finished in position number 2. Green-white checker at the end. What was going through your mind as restarting that thing in position number 4?
Well, I knew the outside was rolling a lot better than the inside from that previous restart. I saw Zane on the outside of me there, and then I had a car that was didn't take any tires, so it kind of hurt me going into 1 a little bit. But I kind of knew on a restart, the outside just tends to roll a little better once you get going. My eyes were set on John, but man, he's fast. He's smooth. He's fast. He's a hell of a racer. Unless he made a mistake, that was the only way I was going to get him. I was a 2nd place or a 3rd place car tonight, so I'll just take that. It's a good points night.
Got to ask you about earlier on in the race, very early, battling out with John Peters for the lead. Kind of got up in the wall a little bit off of corner number 2. Obviously didn't affect your car a whole lot, but how fine is that line around the racetrack, especially early in the race?
Definitely fine. I set my car up, we could change different steering ratios around for the fixed setups. I set it up for the kind of like the long haul. And on a short run like that, when the car gets loose, with the steering ratio, the way I had it, it's really hard to correct it. And when I corrected it, I did it a little too soon, and I basically just kind of shot myself up into the wall. And I knew from then John was on the long side of me. I says, "Well, I'm better off just letting him go because it's way too early in the race to be battling." So, but yeah, I mean, it did hurt the car a little bit, but I mean, John was still fast anyway. I think he would have gotten by me if I didn't get into the wall anyway.
You mentioned good points night. 2 races into the season. Is it too early to think about points?
Never. I was never really a points racer until about probably last year, where it's like, you know what? I was always go after the win, go after the win. I still want to win, but sometimes, if you're a third place car, you race for third place. If you try to go for the lead, that's where you end up in trouble. I'd rather finish in third one night than finish in 19th or 20th.
Beautiful looking 46 car. Who's on the race car? Who'd you like to thank for tonight?
I'd just like to thank, Phillips 66 there, and then like to thank NEP for putting the league on. These guys are really great, and of course for you guys, Vidane Broadcast. You guys do a really great job. I watch a lot of broadcasts in some of the other leagues I'm in, and this is by far the best broadcast that you guys put on. So just a really good job all around.
Well, we appreciate that. That's Ryan Libby coming home in position number 2. Hard-earned finish there, Kyle, with that 46 car, but I believe the winner is next. You've caught up with our winner, the driver from Westbrook, Maine. It's John Peters.
Indeed, I have. For anybody that is familiar with this series, the name John Peters is no strange name to hear in Victory Lane or have any type of success with this series. And tonight he picks up his first win of the season as the defending series champion. John, it was just about a perfect night for you. Had you not given up the lead to Ryan Libby in those opening circuits, it would have been. But minus that, you were up front the entirety of the race. Things were going great. Green flag all the way. I'm sure you had to be thinking that we were going to see the caution flag stay in its holster the entirety, but then it comes out with 10 laps to go. What was going through your mind when that happened? And if it did, how did it change your strategy at all?
Crap. Pretty much that's about it. Yeah, thanks guys. When that about 5 or 10 laps before that caution came out, I started thinking about what I would do if it did come out. Kind of had in my mind that I was going to pit anyway, so I wasn't too surprised to see it come out. But I hope the viewers and you guys enjoyed those late race restarts. I sure did not want to see that happen, but I think we put on some great racing there at the end, and glad you guys could broadcast it again. This is my first win on Vidane TV finally, so I think hopefully now my parents are happy they've been able to see me get one.
I forgot that you had been mentioning that towards the end of the season, so gets to check another thing off the NEP bucket list by getting a victory here on Vidane TV. Not only did you see the long green flag run come to an end, but there was another caution flag that sets up the green-white checkered. What was the most important factor in being able to get here to Victory Lane off of that restart?
I had to get a good launch off the line. I knew if Evan and I got an equal start, or if I gave him any nose ahead going down into one, that it might be tough. I knew the outside had a bit more grip, and I chose that line so I could get a good roll off of 2, but I had to make sure I got a good launch and at least could set the tone going in that corner. So Pheonix is a fun track. You can move around and use both grooves, which is fun. So glad we decided to come here, and glad it was a good race there at the end.
John, it's an 18 race season this time around. You're in Victory Lane in race number 2 as the defending series champion. How important is it for you to get a victory this early and really start this title defense off the best way that you can?
Well, it's just nice to come back and kind of resume that momentum that we built up there in that last season. We have some guys that have come in this year pretty strong, and I think are going to do pretty well. We have Ryan Libby, you guys just talked to, and Kenny Kibbe, and Evan's always fast, and Joey Dwyer was up there, and a few others. So I'm anticipating a pretty tough season with some good competition. So to be able to come back and get right into Victory Lane and hopefully be able to sustain that will be the key. It's a long season, like you said, so really just got to make sure we don't crash at the end of the day. If we cross the line, it'll still be a worthwhile night.
Well, you were able to do that tonight, John. You did it in the race lead. Win number 1 on the season. Who would you like to thank?
Thank you guys. Thanks, Vidane TV. It's great to see Tim Terry up here in the booth. Tim and I raced back together many moons ago, it seems. So good to see Tim up here. Thank you guys for doing it. Thanks, Design Lab and Schiff for sponsoring the race and series. Thanks, my parents, for watching, my girlfriend for letting me do it, my dog for staying quiet in the background. Shout out Steve, Shannon, Landon Reese watching. And then all of our real life partners, Runtle, North America, Digby's Variety, Libby Septic, Turn 4 Automotive, and AM's Oil. Couldn't do without them.
Your race winner in tonight's Design Lab 55 at Pheonix International Raceway, kicking off the title defense in race number 2. Very strong, his first win of the season from Westbrook, Maine, John Peters. Well, Tim, race number 2 is in the books. Your first one here with the New England, Pennsylvania group. What did you think?
A 24-25 car field, and the first caution came out with a 48 or 49 lap run. That was pretty impressive, especially at a racetrack like this where you're kind of all on top of each other. John Peters puts in another great effort, goes to victory lane, and he's going to be tough to beat all season long. These guys kept talking about the points and it being a long season. Yeah, I think these guys are going to put on a show on these Thursday nights. So if you don't have anything to do and throughout the schedule, take a look at this NEP series. This one is going to be exciting. So we'll see what transpires over these next few weeks. Congratulations to John Peters, and congratulations, pat on the back, to this entire field because they put on a show tonight.
They really did. We saw a very differing race with so many green flag laps in the beginning, and then one caution flag sets up the calamity, the chaos, the excitement that we all know and love with racing. Had a couple cautions there, a green-white checkered finish. Still came out with the dominating car of the night in victory lane. But just overall, a very, very exciting race. Pheonix International Raceway, such a good racetrack. Even this older forward mat that we used tonight put on a great show for the second race of this season. And we'll have some changes going into next week's race, the Shawloo Performance 75 at Stafford Motor Speedway, which Paul will fill us in on here in just a moment. But Tim, since you're here, what's going on with Tim's Corner Motorsports here in the upcoming future?
Yeah, we actually just made the unofficial official announcement today, I guess, and you can see it at the bottom of the upcoming events. We're going to be back for a week of racing. We're trying something big to really kick off the season. It'll be a 300-lap super late model race on Friday, November 20th. Qualifying nights throughout that week leading in to what will be a last chance qualifier, per se, after the NEP race on that Thursday night, which is November 19th, and then roll in to the big finale on November 20th. I know there's some that want a couple of big races throughout the winter from us, but we're going to kick it off. I don't want to say kick it off with a bang, but it's going to be a very busy week, and excited to see who shows up for that. We're going to have a registration cap, I think, at 180. Typically, the events that we had during the pandemic had anywhere from 60 to 80 drivers try to qualify. We're going to open it up a little bit. Would love to see some of these NEP guys come out and do it as well. And who knows, you might see a couple of those drivers from the Coca-Cola Series moonlight. It's going to be a fun little week, but kicking it off in November, I got some NEP stuff coming up. I know Roma Brothers Racing is on Vidane as well. So there's lots of great racing action here in the next couple of months.
It sure is. We're glad to be back. Glad to have you in the booth tonight, Tim. Very excited to see those Tim's Corner Motorsports events come back to us at Vidane TV. And of course, everybody, you're able to check out some of those other events going on. As I just kind of led into a little bit here, Paul, next week we are, well, I guess technically next week we aren't back with the New England, Pennsylvania group. Their third race going to be coming on a different day. A few Monday shows that they have throughout the season. We have our first one for race number 3.
Absolutely right, Kyle. Just taking a look at the schedule right now of the upcoming events. Haven't had a chance to update the graphic yet, but you can see all the New England, Pennsylvania races there, and Tim's Corner Motorsports, as Tim alluded to, he's got a week on the schedule here at Vidane TV. So the next time we see these guys, the NEPS guys, is going to be Monday, October 5th. Going to be 8:15 going live right then, and you can see the next handful of races there. A couple of typos, it looks like. We'll get the producer to fix that later on down the road. But we definitely want you to come back next Thursday, because we've got some big-time news, some big-time announcements that you may have actually seen them already if you go to Vidane.net and click on that little TV broadcast schedule. making their Vidane TV debut, Sim 500. One of the biggest sim racing groups in the history of sim racing is joining forces with Vidane Racing and Vidane TV as we will be broadcasting the very first race of the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series, brought to you by Sim 500 Esports Racing League. Very, very cool to be working with Joey Gattina and all those guys over at Sim 500, and we've got about a handful of races with them going to be on Thursday nights that the NEPS guys aren't running, and a couple of other series that we'll be working with them as well. And oh, by the way, there's a special little super speedway something or other series that's going to be announced very, very soon. So be sure to take a look at the Vidane TV and the Sim 500 Facebook pages for all of that. But man, I just want to thank everybody. Thank you guys, Tim, Kyle, for joining me up here in the Vidane TV booth. It's always great to have you guys out here pushing the sounds out on to the airwaves. And I want to thank everybody out there for really just letting us into your homes on a Thursday night and letting us do what we'd love to do. It's always a blast calling these races here at Vidane TV, and it's great to be able to share this passion with all of our fans out there as well. Like Kyle made mention earlier, anybody that's out there doing a watch party, anything like that, watching it on the big screen, so to speak, take a picture. Let us know what you're drinking, who you're rooting for, what kind of equipment you're watching on, and use the hashtag Vidane TV to join the discussion. And man, we always love hearing from the fans, you guys in the chat, and I can tell you honestly, coming from the bottom of my heart as the producer and El Presidente of Vidane TV, it does the heart a lot of good to see that we're entertaining the masses, as we started out to do on our flagship show way back when in March. Seems like an eternity ago, but man, we hope this broadcast made it to you in good health, and if it didn't, well, we hope you get better real soon. We're not going to be going too far, as we're going to be coming back next week with a handful of shows, and like I said, Sim 500 making their Vidane TV debut with the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series. Do not want to miss that. So from here, Vidane TV, Tim Terry, Kyle Young, and myself, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., and everybody here at NEPS with Shift Marketing and Design, thank you so much for coming out tonight. We will see you the next time we see you.